If you know me or you have been following this channel, you know that I'm a big proponent of multimodal AI agents, especially voice-enabled AI agents, so much so that I have tried to create a multimodal AI agent almost an year back right into this channel. And not just that, almost around 8 months back, I have created an voice-enabled AI sales agent and made it an open source project. And if you haven't checked that out, I'll also have that link into the description for you to check out. Over the last 6 or 7 months, at least since OpenAI have launched their speech-to-speech model, I have been talking more about webrtc architecture and how you can leverage webrtc architecture to create multimodal AI agents for absolutely dirt cheap, not use any kind of real-time API or anything. And now we are having better and better models coming into the market. That means we can actually leverage speech to speech model as we grow ahead, but you should definitely use or consider webrtc framework or as a protocol for your multimodal AI use cases. That's what I can definitely recommend to you based on my journey so far. Now what I have done, I have collected all of this project and I have listed everything into one pager so that you can go ahead and check out all those projects, download the code and use it as you need it. And I'm sure you're going to find tons of really valuable resources from that list. I'm going to attach the link into the description and you must not forget to subscribe to this channel. Now, one of the things that I have been doing over the past 6-7 months is I was talking about LiveKit, and in one of the last video I talked about the WebRTC architecture, how it works and how LiveKit works under the hood in much more details if you are especially looking to use WebRTC architecture for your own AI SaaS or startup. And as part of this video, and this is of course a much requested video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to self-host LiveKit in one of my own VPS server using one of my own domain and show you how you can do it and how you can use your own self-hosted LiveKit for powering up your multimodal AI agent. So if you're ready, let's proceed to the next section and let me share my screen and show you how it is done. Welcome to my screen. In this LiveKit self-hosting guide, we will try to cover the infrastructure setup, the security configurations, as much as I can possibly do with one server instance. Of course, it won't be a proper production because you need multiple servers, but I'll try and cover as much as possible. And then we'll discuss how we can actually scale it up if you have multiple servers. And that's not the end. We are also going to actually integrate with one of our LiveKit agent with this self-hosted instance and see if that works. So there is a lot of learnings as part of this video. So stay tuned as I progress through this entire guide. And what I would also do is, as I will go ahead with this setup, I will keep on adding the steps that I'm actually executing, as you will also see as part of this tutorial. And I'll also add any scripts, any commands that I'm actually executing so that you can just take this guide and follow along, step by step. So if you're ready, let's do that. So let's start. First, infrastructure setup. So what you have to first do is buy a VPS if you don't have one, and of course you can use one of this affiliate link, and that will indirectly help the channel as well. And you get additional 20% discount, so it's not actually going to cost you anything extra, rather it will give you discount and free credit. So if you use Kamatera, you'll get $100 free credit using the link. And if you use Hostinger, you'll get 20% discount. So make a choice wisely and buy a VPS because that's what you need to do any kind of self-hosting, especially software like LiveKit. And as I said in the previous demo, that I'm not going to do self-hosting in the computer because that's not what you would use LiveKit for. So let's actually buy a proper VPS and set it up. You would also need a domain. Again, you can use something like Hostinger to buy your domain. That will be also cheap to buy actually and use it. So I hope you would do that yourself. If you have any questions, confusions, again, write me down in the comment and I'll try to help you out as much as possible. I already have a domain that is just sitting there, which I have also used for my Coolify tutorial. So I'm just going to reuse that domain for this purpose of the demo. So first thing first, what I have to do is to go to my Hostinger where I have one of the free domain just sitting there, and I'm gonna actually point few of the domain URL to the particular VPS IP that I have. So let me first open my iTerm window and let me actually log into one of the server that I have, which I have already set it up. Again, if you don't know how to set it up without a passcode, how you can log in and you can set up your VPS for a production like setup like this one. You please go ahead in my YouTube channel and check the Coolify self-hosting tutorial. As part of that, I have actually shown you exactly step by step how you can set up a server or as a VPS where you can actually log in passwordless like this one. So I have logged in and that's actually the IPv4 address. Let's just run ifconfig to confirm the address. And this is my address, which is the public address really. So what I'll do, I will come here and I will add a record. And this is going to be an A record and the name should be LiveKit. And once you add LiveKit, it will add livekit.webrtc.com and that will point to this server. And I'll just add this record and just confirm it. Remove the add. So I've added the LiveKit, and the next bit I'll also add is a turn server. Now again, if you don't know what is turn server and stun server, I've already covered about turn and stun server in the detailed video about LiveKit architecture. Please go ahead and check that. I'll just add this there, and that DNS record is added as well. So I'm just going to add it there. There, I'll just say go to DNS management solution and add address manager. So just add this again. That's one of next. So I'm just gonna do one thing, just add a section for you so that you don't get confused. Okay. So the DNS is set now. So the next step is we are going to do some basic VPS setups. So I've already got into my VPS. So if this is first time, just run this command. So just say setup basic VPS and the command will be this. I'm just going to copy that and run it in my VPS. So it will install all the necessary tools or all the necessary softwares for the basic setup of my VPS. So it will run for a few seconds, and once it's done, I'll come back and proceed with the next steps. Be very careful when you run this command. So I'll just say basic server hardening, and then this was the command. I'm not going to run this as of now because, as I said, if I don't be careful and just run it, it might block myself out. So I'm probably going to run this at the end after I've done all the setup. So to allow only the port that is necessary, because at the moment I don't know whether I'm gonna add more ports to this or not. So I have created the command for you to check out, and probably in the end I'll run it and modify it as necessary before I run it basically. So that's the basic server hardening, completely optional for now, but at the end, of course, you want to do that as part of your production setup. Now, what we will do as the next step is we will install Docker because we are going to run it using Docker. So I'm just going to copy the scripts from here and I'm gonna run this. Now, I already had Docker as part of the Coolify tutorial, so that's why it didn't work. I think what I have to do really is just do sudo su and then run it. And there you go. The Docker hello world has run properly. Hello from Docker I can see, so that means my Docker is running and it's working. Now I hope you have installed the Docker and you have been able to run the Docker run just to test your Docker is running and everything. So the very next step is we will actually go ahead and install a LiveKit, and gladly actually LiveKit provide a Docker container to actually generate the configuration beforehand, which you would need to run the instance, which is really awesome, I would say. So this is the basically command that you have to run to be able to generate the config. So I'm just going to copy that and then come back to my server and I'm just gonna run this. Now if you're running it first time, it will actually will pull this image, but for me I have actually tested it before, so that's why it has immediately run. And now it asks you what you want to deploy. Would you want to only deploy LiveKit server? You want to deploy egress, ingress, and with both ingress and egress. Now in a production setup, you definitely want to run the LiveKit server as a separate VM or as a separate server, and your ingress and egress should be a different server. But in this case, because we are doing it in all one VPS, I'm actually going to go with both egress and ingress plus LiveKit. So as you can imagine, that will be an heavy usage system. So that's why they recommend that you run it with at least 4 virtual CPU and 4 GB of RAM. But I don't have 4 virtual GPU in this system, but I think it should be able to cope up to run it, because I'm not gonna actually do a hammer-on testing. But if you are actually planning to use it for your production use case, make sure you have sufficient CPU and RAM, and also have your multi-node setup. Now let's go ahead with that, and then it will ask me the primary domain name. I'm just going to give livekit.viddescriptor.com. That's the domain name that we are using as part of this setup, as you have seen already. So I'm just going to hit enter, and then it's asking for turn domain name. So vid again, descriptor. Again, I've used that for turn that I have already added. And this is kind of a new thing that we have to add, which is the WIP domain. I talked about WIP in much details in the previous video about what WIP is and how it helps the WebRTC protocol, how it helps WebRTC product or tools like LiveKit. So again, go ahead and check the video. There's so much information that I've covered in that video. What I'm going to do is just copy this part, and I'm going to come here, and I'm just going to update that record again. So there you go. I have added it to my previous instance. So I'm just going to use LiveKit with descriptor.com. It's asked me now which SSL issuer you want to use. I would use Let's Encrypt, to be frank, but you can also use Zero SSL, which is let's go ahead with Let's Encrypt. And I'm gonna of course go with the latest version. And it says, do you want to use external Redis? Again, you should use external Redis if you are using it for production. In this case, because I have only one VPS, I will use the internal Redis. That means as part of this installation, the Redis will be installed as part of the LiveKit server, and Redis is required for state management. So I'm just going to select no. But again, for you, if you want to go for production, you said yes, select yes. And here you have 3 options: startup shell script, Cloud-init for Amazon Linux, and Cloud-init for Ubuntu. Now, what are these 3 things? So if you're just planning to use a VM to run LiveKit server, which does not support Cloud-init tool, go for shell script. So it will create a shell script which you will actually attach as part of the VM startup script. And every time your VM actually starts up, restarted, it will try and rerun all the installation, download all the latest version of LiveKit server, and it will try to run it. However, if you are running your VPS in a cloud environment like I am running, you can use Cloud-init if your VM supports Cloud-init. And in the Cloud-init user data section, you just update whatever script that it will generate, and it will basically be able to run it. And again, as part of the script, it will done all the installation and everything, which is really, really nice. And I really love the LiveKit generation tool because of that. And I'm just going to use the Ubuntu because this is the Ubuntu machine that I'm running, and then hit enter. And as I do that, you can see that it has able to create all the configurations. So this is the configuration that you should actually update the user data section in your cloud provider. So if I do like ls, you see that this new folder is created. And here, if I just view this file, this is the file which contains everything like in a Cloud-init tool supported format. And you just have to update your Cloud-init user data section with this script, and that will actually install everything and start the LiveKit server with all the packages that is needed. And of course, it'll done it automatically. You don't have to do anything. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just run the Docker Compose up. It has also given you the commands that you should run line by line that you can run as well. But again, as I said, I'm just going to run Docker Compose up, which will have everything that we need. Because end of the day, the Cloud-init is actually using the Docker Compose under the hood, and it's using Caddy as a reverse proxy, not Nginx. If you don't know what is Caddy, do a quick search and let me know. I can create a quick video about Caddy later on. It's a very, very easy to use reverse proxy engine like Nginx that they use under the hood. And this config tool have added all your domain and everything automatically. However, what is really, really important and you should save is these details. So maybe what I'll do, I'll just add a section here like test config, and I'm gonna for Kno2gether, I'm just gonna add this there just to make sure you have got everything. I'm definitely gonna anyway delete this instance after I'm done with the demo. So it's fine for you to have the API key and API secret. It's not gonna cause any harm for me. And I'm also probably gonna just remove this domain reference later on. Anyway, now our configuration is ready. Let's start the LiveKit server. So we'll come here, and as I said, what I'm going to do is just do docker compose up -d, and this should actually download everything like the LiveKit container, the Redis container, the egress container, this ingress containers, and everything else, and the whip server and everything else. And it's just going to start it. So let's do that. And now you can see that all of this script has started, which is a really good news for us. So we should be able to go ahead and test it. So to test, we need the API key and we need the API secret. And I'm going to run the dental agency use case that I have run before as part of the LiveKit demo. But this time I'm just going to use this self-hosted installation. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is just copy this environment variable, because this is the only change that I need to do. All the other bits are going to be same. Our AI API token and everything, I'm not going to change that. Now, if you're coming first time to this video, this particular script I have covered in much detail in a previous video. I will link the description as well as the link to this particular repository where you have bunch of different type of LiveKit agent examples, and you can definitely check it out. I'm not going to go through that in this video because this is already covered already. So I'm just going to run this export command so that my LiveKit API key, API secret, and WSS URL to my LiveKit self-hosted server is set. And I'm just going to run my AI assisted help desk, which is my LiveKit AI agent, and I'm just going to start it. I think I've made some mistake. As you can see here, it cannot connect it, and I know the reason. Let me quickly fix that. So the domain name that I have is viddescriptor.com, but I did some mistake here. If you can see, I made the spelling mistake here. So what I can do, and the easiest way, is really just let me shut it down. I can go ahead and change all the config manually, but why to do that, right? We can just do it much easy way. So I'm just going to delete everything that I have done so far. So I'm just going to do sudo rm-rf, and that has deleted everything. And basically what I'm going to do is rerun this command. And this is the beauty of the generation tool. And as I do it, it will ask me to select. I'm just going to select same thing. However, this time I'll be a bit careful. So I'm just going to go and copy the domain name properly. So this is the domain name. Yep. And then turn.descriptor.com livekit whip descriptor.com. Let's encrypt, latest, no, and I'm going to use Cloud-init. And there you go. So we have got new API key and new API secret, which I am going to update it here. I'm going to update it here, and I'm just going to copy this across. We also have to upgrade this URL here. Let's go ahead and let me come here into my AI agent setup, and I will again rerun the export command. So this time I have this one running, and let me go ahead inside this server, and I'm going to do docker compose up -d, and this should have started my LiveKit servers. So if I just quickly take a look at the logs, I can see it is starting the Ton server, and it is also starting the LiveKit server, which is really good. All right, so now what we can do is just to call -i https. Let's just take it, and we can see it is returning 200. That means now it's all good, and hopefully my AI agent will start without any hiccups now. So let me start that. So when you're setting it up, just be careful, don't make the mistake like I did. And now I can see it is registered the worker successfully, so I'm happy. The next bit that we need to do is update our client, which is this code. This is the Git playground code that you probably already have access to. If not, again, use the link below and download the code. I'm gonna just update the API key secret, and I think the URL is all set. It's good. Just save it and gonna run npm run dev just to make sure that this is running fine. What I'm gonna do is show the logs, and we can see that workers is registered. The log has already came up, and this is in our local self-hosted instance. And now I will go to the browser and just gonna run localhost 3000, and there you go. our dental agency site is ready. As soon as I click that, this should actually connect to our LiveKit server and the agent should come up and talk with me. Let's see.
Hello, I'm Dela, your dental assistant at No Labs Dental Agency. Can I know if you are the patient or you're representing the patient?
Yeah, I am the patient and my name is Abhijit. Are you able to hear me?
I can definitely read your messages. While I can't hear you, I'm here to help you with any dental questions or appointment bookings you might need. If you're looking for assistance, could you please share your name?
So as you can see, this is perfectly working fine with our self-hosted instance. But as I said, if you want to actually run it for your production use cases, I would still recommend you to use the cloud hosted one, not self-host it yourself, because there is a lot of container that is running. As you can see in the server, I'll just quickly show you the server. So you can see there are 5 or 6 containers running just to power up the LiveKit webrtc servers and to work properly. So that means there is a lot of breaking points. So unless you have a really large team to manage this kind of workloads or this kind of servers, and you have a proper DevOps setup to manage this kind of servers, like you have Kubernetes and all this stuff, then I would say don't take all this extra headache. If you're planning to create your own app, just use their hosted instance. That is much cheaper and much better to use. And of course, they also come with CDN and everything. And again, I'm not getting paid to tell you this, but this is really my personal opinion. And I actually use their cloud hosted server for my own projects. And that will, of course, also help them to grow, improve the project, add more features and functionality. With that said, I'm probably going to end the video. If you have any questions or any doubt, let me know. But before I go there, I will quickly discuss few points by opening their documentation. First thing, in this demo, we have only covered the self-hosting in one of the VPS, but as I said, in a production setup, you need to do multiple VPS. And for the firewall configuration, again, I think I haven't touched this up. You can actually definitely try out the firewall configuration. And if you're really trying to self-host the LiveKit yourself for your own use cases, make sure it is distributed multi-region if you are planning to create your AI agent multi-region. If not, at least use Kubernetes to kind of manage the pods and the containers effectively automatically, because as I said, there is a lot of containers running, and if one of the container dies, your services will not be working. So make sure you follow along this documentation. They have a really good documentation, I would say. Even they have created the Helm chart and everything if you want to deploy it in a Kubernetes cluster. And if you're not sure what is Kubernetes is, how to do that effectively, again, let me know in the comments and I can bring another video by deploying it in a Kubernetes cluster. But that will be a really advanced topic because Kubernetes itself is a really complex thing to understand. So that will actually need probably whole hour or 2 hour session for me to explain you the Kubernetes and how to use it in a proper production setup. But let me know regardless if you need that knowledge. I will probably add that piece later on as a member only section video because the topic is really off topic from the channel what it is made for. But regardless, let me know. And the other thing I want to mention is if you also want to use a LiveKit for the integration with Twilio and everything, you need to separately run this Docker Compose file, which also will start your SIP server. So this is really important that you need to run it so that you have the SIP server running, which will actually help in SIP trunking with Twilio or any other provider. So that's all really as part of this demo, and I'm gonna close this video. But again, if you are really interested to know how I am using LiveKit in my own AI SaaS project, again, use the link below and join the course where there are other members are coming and I'm discussing all of this in much more details and in a production standard format, what all things that you need to consider. Let's drag this video to an end and take care, and hopefully I'll see you on to the next one. Till then, peace out. Bye.